So you saw the thumbnail, you saw the title, and you want to know what it's like to get your face cut in half. Well, I can tell you about it as I went through a double jaw correction surgery, and I'll explain a few things in this video as we go through it. Alright, well, let's get started. Welcome to the channel. If you're new here, if you have been subscribed, you're probably thinking this is kind of weird to see my face, and now you're going to hit that unsubscribe button because of the way I look. And I don't blame you, but I try to get surgery to look good for you guys, so hopefully that's manageable for your eyes to bear the side of my face. But I want this video to be quick and informative. I don't want to drag on too much, but there are little details that are hard to skip over. I'm just going to share my experience and how to prepare for this kind of surgery and what to expect from the recovery side of the surgery, and what to expect as the helper. I actually have my girlfriend do a portion of this video for you. So if you're watching this and you have someone that can come and help you during the time of recovery, or a loved one that's going to be there for you, then please show this to them, and it might help them prepare mentally and just with supplies on what to expect. Now, if you clicked on this and you already know a lot about the surgery, and you're just looking for specific info, I'm going to try to leave timestamps in the description below. I'm still learning how to talk again. So click that the expansion button and you'll see timestamps. Then I try to give high-level topics, and you can go through those and skip ahead if you're not needing all the details. So before we get into the surgery and all the details of that, I'm gonna start a little bit with my backstory and why I had the surgery and what led up to that moment. About 1.5 years ago, I had been seeing my dentist and I had an underbite. I mentioned to him that I had some joint pain in my jaw, the TMJ. And so he said that was a concern because when I would move my jaw back and forth, it would click. There was a lot of popping when I would eat like a burger or anything, like a bagel, anything that was hard to get my mouth around. And I mentioned that to him. So he said I should go see my orthodontist because they'll start to straighten my teeth out. And from there, we can decide if surgery is necessary, or if the orthodontist can adjust my teeth enough to fix my underbite, or at least alleviate the pain. Going to my orthodontist, he had me do Invisalign, and that was one of the best choices for me. They did a scan of my teeth and then had a 3D rendering model that I'm showing you here of 9 months worth of Invisalign. Now, that was if everything worked out perfect. And for the most part, it did. The biggest factor that changed was after surgery and what it was supposed to look like immediately after. Obviously, with surgery, there's a lot that can happen with movement, and not everything's going to line up just perfect. So as I'm doing Invisalign, I went and saw the surgeon and had a consultation with him. And he took some x-rays, did some scans, and looked inside and measurements of all that. And basically said, yeah, I should be good to go. So the week before, or the 2 weeks before surgery, I went into the orthodontist and they put on these buttons, which I'll show you in some pictures here, I'm sure. And the buttons were meant to be anchors for the surgeon. Once he cut the jaws, he would then move them in place and put them in the mold that they created for me as well. And once they placed my jaw and my teeth in the mold, they would band myself shut, and that would hold them in place for the time of healing. So basically leading up to that, I had money, insurance checked out, I had ortho checked out, I had the dentist approval, surgeon was ready to go. Now I'm just waiting. So when it comes to the actual surgery procedure, what ended up taking place and what the plan was to shift my lower jaw back slightly and pull my top jaw forward. There was like too far of a gap there for just the top jaw to be pulled forward all the way. What that would do if they only did the top jaw would leave too much of a gap between this joint. And so they would either have to fill in bone for that. And so the surgeon recommended I do both the lower and the upper jaw, just so that there's a structural integrity there and it's stronger. So bottom jaw back slightly, top jaw forward. And what that also did was avoid, if he pulled just the top jaw forward, it would make my nose come up more than it already does. And my girlfriend mentions I have very big nostrils. I don't know what that means. You know what they say, if you have big nostrils. Yeah. So, just kidding. But if they pull that all the way forward and only the top jaw, that would really push up a lot of my top lip and nose, and it would look funny. So to keep the integrity as well of the structure of my face and just looking somewhat normal, I know I don't look normal. Don't judge. But that's basically what they did. So they cut along the sides here on the left and right on the lower jaw, up and then along the top of where the teeth are. I don't know how to explain that, but they just cut up and over. They didn't go all the way through. So basically, imagine like a piece of wood. They didn't just cut it through and then try and put it back together. They cut it basically along. I'm not sure if I can show this. Imagine like this. They go up and then they go over so that they can slide it back. And so basically from there, they can put the plates in and it has more surface area. Now with the upper jaw, it's a little bit different. They just cut straight through here and then they shift it forward and then they put plates to hold it in. And it's really weird because my swelling's gone down, so I can feel the plates now. When I push on them, I don't notice anything different if I don't touch my face. So that's another benefit. Also, one other thing I forgot to mention was with the roof of my mouth and the way my teeth were, bringing this forward, they also had to widen it. So the way to widen it was to cut the roof of my mouth and split it open a little bit. Now the crazy part is, and I believe this is what they did, because you can see the screw right here in the x-rays. And from what the surgeon mentioned before surgery was that he would take a little bit of the bone here and put it into the roof of my mouth. And so that filled in the gap and he put a screw through them. Now, if you're wondering how they did it without any sort of scarring on the outside of my face, they pull your lips back. So they cut along the inside of your mouth and then they pull your lips back either one way or the other, I believe, and do the surgery that way. The only thing he mentioned was that it would possibly need a screw hole here if he wasn't able to get that far back. They were able to do it, but you'll see later on why they were able to do it, because they pulled my lips so far. My lips were they had like burn marks. It was gnarly. I looked like Kylie Jenner at that point. So now we're at the day of surgery, and I'm actually going to switch to a video that my girlfriend and I did the other day. And we walked through the caretaker part, but also the whole process of the day of, the week after, and then I'll get into kind of leading up to what it is like now, 2 months after the surgery.
Is it on?
It's on.
Take one.
Take one.
No,
okay,
it's
so
not.
This is my girlfriend.
Striderina.
She wants to go by Striderina. That's not a thing.
Yeah.
So she basically took care of me the whole time. Before the day of and after surgery, and I thought it'd be helpful to have her kind of go through her thoughts and how it was for her during that time. So
it's an important role.
Yeah, it's an important role. She definitely made it work. So
I want to preface with, I went into the surgery not being okay with blood or hospitals or any kind of recovery process. Has been a little hard for me in the past.
Yeah.
Kind of going into it, I felt like we prepared as best as we could. Obviously, go shopping before for food, because that's something
you're not going to have time.
You're not going to have time.
Or like the mental capacity to go out shopping and leave that person.
You can't leave that person alone.
She left for like an hour and it was the worst time of her life.
I did. I cried. I hated being away. I was like, oh, what's he doing? So before I went and picked up like a bunch of groceries, I suggest you do that. During this whole process, like 2 months he can't chew, and we were told like, okay, mashed potatoes, like things like he could mush. But that first week, I would say that first month, he could only have like pure liquid. So it's like, we're talking, he didn't even have like soup with like a little texture. Until
you can't do chicken noodle soup.
No, you can't do chicken. You can't do anything with chunks
unless
in it.
It's blended.
Yeah. So day of, we went into the hospital together, and he got all ready, and we're kind of like joking, like everything's gonna be great. I think you were a little nervous, yeah.
I was a little nervous, and then also like overconfident, like trying to play it cool. Like there's a picture of me where I'm like cross-armed, and I'm like, oh yeah,
his gown.
In my gown, I look like a fool.
Yeah.
And then the picture after, I look like I died.
So,
anyways.
Well, and I'm already pretty nervous for these kinds of things. Like I said, not good with blood or hospitals. So I was just like, okay, I'm a little nervous. Like he's in his gown. He's about to go back. We like say goodbye. And then I go out into the waiting room, and it was supposed to be a 3-hour surgery. It ended up being, what, 2 hours? 2.5?
2.5.
2.5 hours.
Which is crazy.
Considering all that they did.
But you didn't get to see me right away.
No. So I actually had friends come and sit with me, because 2.5 hours for me would have been just like thinking worst case scenarios the whole entire time. So 2 friends came and sat with me.
They brought you food.
They brought me food, which barely ate, but and they talked with me, distracted me, and the 2 hours flew by like that, or 2.5. And so by the time the doctor came out, he was like, hey, like surgery. First of all, I don't know why they do this, but they come out. Surgeons just like are very like somber. So he comes and he's like, hey, so, and I'm like thinking in my head, okay, he's dead. They're going to tell me like this worst case scenario here. And so he sits down and I'm like, so what's the, like, give me the update here. He's like, so he's out of surgery and he's waking up. Everything went great. And I was like, and he lost a limb, or like, what's the catch here? And he's like, oh no, everything went great. Totally good. Yeah. I don't know why they come out like that. I'm like, can you give me a little bit here, like a smile when you come out, so I know that he's okay. But anyways, he was fine.
He's stone cold.
Yeah, stone cold.
He's serious. He's nice, but he's serious.
I also think he probably was like exhausted.
I was his third surgery of the day.
Yes.
So I went in at 11 a.m. and I was already his third surgery.
Yeah. And so finally, after like checking back with the front desk like 3 times, they were like, okay, you can start coming back now. So this is the part where it gets a little like, because I knew he would look different. I knew it would, like, I knew I couldn't fully grasp what to expect. Mm-hmm. So I was trying to be like open-minded here. I'm like, I don't know what we're walking back into. And so we walk back there, and they like unveil the curtain, pull it back, and
I look beautiful.
Just was like instantly, I was just in shock. Because obviously he looks completely different. He's swollen, but I guess we just didn't really know what to expect. Like, he couldn't talk at all. Like, I kind of thought he would be like, oh, saying things, but he was just.
They were trying to get me to breathe, because I was waking up from the anesthesia, and I think they gave me dosage for 3 hours, and since it was, I don't know what it was, but I was having a hard time breathing, waking up. So she comes into me trying to like stay awake and breathe on my own. Yeah. And I'm all messed up.
Yeah, we're there in the hospital. He's having trouble waking up. He can't even stand or sit up. He's like there were weird things that were happening where he would like, his body would break out and like instantly in this like red rash, and then like we'd like put a cold towel on him and it would like go away instantly. It was just so weird. I'm just looking at him like, first of all, I don't even know who this is, and like second, his body's just doing all these things he can't.
I was secretly hoping I was becoming like a Marvel superhero.
I was with him by his side from when they pulled me back to like 9:30, just with the nurses trying to figure out how to get him his medication, and it would like burn his throat, and then he was coughing up blood the entire day. By like 7 or 8 p.m. we got him his first loop around like the hospital. We went for a walk, and by the time we got back to his chair, he had thrown up about this much blood. I know. Well, that was actually the one part they did really prepare us for. They're like, bloody noses, and you're going to throw up blood at least twice, like in the first night. And so we kind of expected that. And they're like, don't worry. It's just because of the surgery, the way he just explained like how it goes into your stomach. Your body can't process that, so it's obviously gonna like throw it up eventually.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm queasy and I don't like blood, and usually I pass out.
But you handled it.
But
so yeah,
everyone says like, oh, when it's somebody you love, you'll like rise to the occasion. I didn't really believe them, but this showed me that. I was like, okay. Anyways, it's pretty brutal to watch your like whoever you're with watching recover, whether it's like your kid or spouse or friend. It's so hard because the whole day he was just like sitting there. He can't talk, and so he can write notes, and he's drugged up.
It's
so
kind of like a different person.
It's like,
from your perspective.
It was like a child, like watching a child. Like I don't know. Because then going into the night, the nurses actually suggested he'd stayed the night, but he had the release. He could go if he wanted, and he wanted to be in his own bed. It was really comforting being with the nurses, but then when we went back and were on our own, his brother and I just kind of lost it. We were like, what are we doing? Because we got him in his bed, which was sitting up. That's how he slept for a good month, is basically sitting up with a bunch of pillows around him and just kind of like head back. And he's like, I'm in pain. Like, he didn't say that, but he like wrote down he wants his medication. It was time for his like oxycodone. And so we go into the kitchen and we're like, how do we get this to him? Like, it's a pill. Like, what do we do? So we're calling the surgeon. We're like, do we need liquid form of this medication?
But the liquid, you woke the surgeon up.
We did an emergency call. Woke the surgeon up. Straight up sounded like he was dead asleep. I was like, I'm so sorry. But we didn't know what to do. And he's like, you need to like crush the pills. So then finally his roommate came back, and he works at like a mental hospital. So he's used to crushing pills. Saved the day, helped us crush the pills, and showed us how to do it. And basically we put it in a Ziploc bag, and he'd take a cup and like kind of like,
this isn't, it was like Breaking Bad status. We're not telling you how to do drugs.
This is not, if this is prescribed by a doctor and you had jaw surgery and you need to take your medication. Then it was like every 3 hours I was waking up, getting warming bone broth soup, because that was like really one of his favorite things at
That's
first.
All he could have.
It's all he could have, and the warmth, I think, made him feel better. It was like lukewarm. It wasn't hot.
Yeah.
So like lukewarm bone broth, like I'd give him a little bit, and just to even get this much took so long, and he'd take a while to swallow it. He'd have to like tilt his head and like swallow his bone broth, and then I'd get him water, then I'd give him his pills. So it was like every 4 hours he's supposed to have his medication, but I'd wake up every 3, get it all ready, prepare, do the food, and then give him his pill, take like an hour to do all that. And then I'd sleep for another 3 hours next to him. And like, so it was just like on loop for 4 days straight, just every 3 hours.
For you at this point, like throughout that week, you were like sleep deprived.
Yeah.
As the caretaker, you're very tired.
It's like getting a newborn baby, but they're older and, in pain.
Yeah.
I also did not expect for this to be such like an emotional process of just like seeing someone you care about like this. And I wasn't able to leave. There's no way I would have gone and got myself food or coffee or anything. I would have just not had anything if it wasn't for our friends who were like coming by, bringing me food and coffee just to survive the day, checking in on him and spending time with us for a little bit. I think that was one of the most helpful things.
So I guess from your perspective, are there any key like pieces of advice that you would give to somebody who's going to be watching someone go through the surgery or like helping them?
Well, I would say definitely clear your schedule. Make sure like if you're going to care for this person, that's what you're going to be doing for the next week. Every day there was like something new to celebrate. And I think that's the key, is like keeping a positive mindset throughout this process and looking for the little things to celebrate, because it can be really daunting to not eat for 2 months. So we really learned how to focus on the positive things and celebrate those little successes every day. When he could like, drink out of a cup by himself, that was like a huge success. We're like, yes, like awesome. Like, or he was able to walk around a little bit more, and that was so exciting. And if he was like kind of talking a little bit more after the first day, you were kind of
trying to talk.
He was like caveman language, and only really I understood it. It was like, and I'm like, go get you that? Okay, sure.
That was good.
That was pretty much it. Also, another bit of advice for the caretaker: is reading some like jaw surgery blogs. There's like blogs out there for like what you can eat, because I think that was one of the most stressful things for me, is trying to figure out what I was going to get him. I mean,
like variety of stuff
that he's not going insane, so to make it a little bit more fun. And so I think anywhere you go or get a smoothie or a shake, like those are great things to get, but you have to have them like double blend it and make it watery. And I even did like tomato soup with like an avocado, bone broth soup, and blended like chicken, because to get him like some protein. That was like not nice. It's super tasty. Last bit of advice as I'm thinking. So we went to Target and got a bunch of Hanes V-necks for him to wear that we just disposed of after, because your face is swollen and huge. So putting on clothes, like you're not going to want to like get your head through like a little hole. So I would suggest getting some bigger t-shirts and having that ready for you. All right, that's about all from Striderina today.
Oh my gosh, we're not going.
Just DM me, swipe up if you want any more. Okay. If you have more questions for me.
I'm ending the video.
My username is Striderina.
Stop. So some of the things that we did mention or did not mention, I kind of want to cover as a recap. I hope you enjoyed that little bit. But basically, I want to just show you some supplies that I had that I want to make sure you guys get. Get one of these like little throw up baggy things like this, so you just spit up into it and you can just throw them away. Ooh, this was my favorite thing. So you'll see photos and pictures of me, and I'm wearing something called the jaw bra. No, I'm not sponsored. It's literally called a jaw bra. I would show everybody when I was on Oxy this bra on my chin. This is amazing. So you'd have ice packs in here. Oh! I'm gonna start a new fashion trend here, guys. I'm telling you. This is the new, I should talk to like Gucci or Kanye. Kanye, if you want to do a collab, let's do a jaw bra Yeezy collection. And then we already showed you guys, but there's little syringes, different sizes too, that we ended up using. Super helpful for feeding and for taking the meds. Now, with the swelling of my face and where a lot of the pain came from was the wisdom teeth being taken out. The swelling on my face was over the top. Like you see in the pictures, I look like Kylie Jenner with my lips. I just am so bulged out right here. And this is like an after 2 months. It's pretty much gone. There's still a little bit of swelling on this side. You can see, it's kind of hard too, but and then a little bit of swelling here as well. That'll go away in time, but just make sure you're icing it, and then at a certain point your surgeon will have you do compression with heat. I just got a heat pack and I warmed it up in the microwave, set it on there, massage it. One other factor I forgot to mention was the numbness on my face and what that's like. So the surgeon prepped me ahead of time and mentioned that I could have some permanent numbness, but that's just case by case, depends on your age, depends on your genetics. And so right now I have my bottom lip is pretty much numb. I would say 85% numb. My lower chin, or my chin in general, is all numb, and my tongue as well, the right side of it. So as of right now, 2 months after surgery, I still have some numbness. It can take up to a year from what the surgeon told me to have complete healing of your nerves. With the surgery, they don't actually cut through the nerve. They cut around it. They can see it, which is nasty, but they actually don't damage it. They stretch it. So with the stretching or this compression of that nerve, it basically causes numbness for that temporary time. And from 2 months up to a year, there could be healing and slow recovery in that. What I felt was a lot of shocks going through my lips and through my chin, and that's just the nerves firing off. That's a good sign, I believe, in my opinion, because I felt like it was letting those nerves re-heal, and if it's sending signal, then there's something there and it's something trying to repair itself. As of right now, my bottom lip still gone, chin is still gone, but hopefully that'll get better. In a lot of cases, what I'm hearing is there will usually be a spot on the chin that will be permanently numb, but we'll have to wait and see. that's just kind of where I'm at right now. You're probably wondering, like, why is this tooth so messed up? No, it's not a grill. It's not like a little gold piece. It's actually dead for the most part. That's why it's blue. It needs a root canal, and that is a result of the widening of the top. So I mentioned that they cut the roof of the mouth, and when they did that, just so much movement and the way that this surgery is, that's pretty common to have a root canal, at least on one tooth. And for me, it just so happened to be on the very front. Just with all the movement, there is trauma that happens to the roots. At least this is the way I understand it. And so with that, I have to get my root canal done before I can continue doing Invisalign. Now, I have my little bag here that I carry around everywhere. And inside of it, I have my toothbrush. I have my rubber bands, which I'll show you in a minute. Tweezers to help with the rubber bands. Toothpaste. And then this right here is my guard. And so I talk about this a little bit, but the guard basically doesn't allow you to put your tongue through it or anything. It's just like a mouth guard. I'll show you. It's kind of gross because it has blood stains on it. It used to be pretty clear, and they just kind of let me keep this one. Here, let's see if I can. I don't need to show you guys so detailed. There we go. All right. Anyways, so when I put it in, just like that, and I can kind of show you guys. Beautiful smile. This is the way I want it to be right after surgery. But at this point, I only take the guard out when I eat. Other than that, I'm having the rubber bands on 90% of the day. At least I should be. And I'll take it out. It was a little bit hard to learn how to talk again once I took it out. And I'm still learning. I have a little bit of a, I don't know what it is. It's a lisp, and also like my tongue like rolls on itself. It's having to now reach farther to the top of my teeth than before. And then also with this mouth guard, it keeps my tongue curled back. So when I take it out, it's having to readjust and learn how to talk again. So thanks for bearing with me during this video and all my other videos on the channel for just the sake of listening to me learn how to speak again. But let me show you guys really quickly what it looks like to have this in, and I'll kind of like conclude the video with that. Yeah, so just like that. That's kind of it. All right, I know there's been a lot of talking throughout this video, and I hope you were able to track somewhat with the process before, leading up to it, the day of, the week after, and then now up to this point. I know there's a lot more I could go into details on, and possibly if people really want, I can. But I feel like this was a pretty good summary of just my surgery process, and especially from the caretaker side. I think that's important because my surgeon even mentioned it's a lot harder for the caretaker and the people around the person who had the surgery than it is for the person having the surgery. And that sounds weird, but emotionally and mentally, just trying to help, it's a lot for people just to sit and watch you in a lot of pain. Now you might be having just an upper or just a lower jaw surgery. You might be having something more extreme. I heard of a case where someone had an upper jaw and they had like a growth here that was pushing the jaw down. There's so many cases for this surgery, but this was just my experience, and I got it because of the pain that I was having. I'm 2 months in right now, and I'm on the up and up, and I just, every day is a new achievement, and so I hope to continue getting better. I'm keeping away from a lot of physical activity where I'm gonna get punched in the face. Trying not to start any fights, people. But other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it's weird seeing my face on this channel, but I felt like it was really important and part of my story to share with you guys what it was like to go through this surgery and kind of my journey through that. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, hit that like button. If you're new here, hit the subscribe button if you want to. Obviously, you don't need to be told that. You're not children. Maybe you are. I don't know. But I know you're smart. You're not dumb. You know how to do that. With that, share this video with your family, with your friends, or with those that you know are going to go through this surgery. And I hope you enjoyed it. If you want more topics about this, let me know in the comments below if you have anybody going through it. And I will talk to you later.
Just let me know if you want me to have my own channel, if you're wanting more videos from me. Please let me know.
No.
I can talk about any topic you want. We can talk about
Okay. Anything we want.
And Strider won't be on there, so peace out.